Morning, it is 20 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Walker Aviation Museum, Robert Sherman back with us. Morning, Robert.
Morning, Mike.
How you doing today?
I'm okay.
Good. May have some weather coming in, so, everyone hopefully prepares accordingly for that.
Right.
But, of course, for folks that aren't familiar, Walker Aviation Museum, which is located inside the air terminal, down at the base there. It is a museum that is devoted to, once was the Walker Air Force Base there, Roswell Army Airfield, and it's a museum dedicated to the history of that, as well as our Cold War era, and talking about our missile silos that called the Roswell area home for a few years there. And then as well as, their STEM mission, working, promoting STEM and getting youth interested in STEM-related careers and things like that. That's all part of the mission of the Walker Aviation Museum.
Right, absolutely.
So I guess your biggest need right now is people, isn't it?
We're kind of struggling because of we don't have very many people and money issues and stuff like that. So what we're doing right now is either myself or Bob Donnell and maybe in the future Katie Yates and stuff. But anyway, we'll go out for about 2.5 hours on Monday through Friday. And we get out there about 2.5 hours before the plane takes off. And we get, anywhere from, 7 to 12, 15 people coming in, just looking around.
Gotcha.
So we can continue to do that for now, but
you would like to expand those.
We got some other plans,
services, yeah.
We decided not to do golf tournament this year because of lack of people. I mean, it's kind of hard to go out and try to get a golf tournament all organized when you only got 2 or 3 people.
Just don't have the manpower to
trying
do that.
to do that and set that up. Plus, that those same several people are trying to keep the museum open.
Gotcha.
So we just don't have the manpower. What we may try to do, we don't know exactly, but we may try next year, and maybe to team up with somebody. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, somebody else trying to get together. We could do as a team.
Gotcha.
And if we don't have enough people. But hopefully by then we'll have 4, 5, 6 more people where we can maybe get someone to volunteer to come out once a week and open it up for like 4 hours.
Okay.
But right now, having us to go out there 5 days a week and open it for 4 or 5 hours is
it's really hard.
It's kind of hard. Yeah.
So, but like you said, if there's people that are listening out there that would love to donate a few hours a week to serve at the museum or
think about joining our board.
Yeah, serving on the board or being a part of it in a bigger way, please reach out. I think you're going to really have some fun because it's like when you volunteer, there's little perks too. I mean, you're doing a great thing in helping, raise awareness and helping promoting the STEM and the various values of the museum. But you also get to kind of see things and get to peel into history and there's just cool things that happen from time to time. Like here's a gee whiz one. What was it, about 2 years ago? David Copperfield come rolling through looking for history on his father or something that spent some time here. There was...
Oh, yeah. All the time you get people coming that their dad was this or that.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that. Or, you go through... the collection that the museum has, and you get to see all these heirlooms and artifacts from the time at Walker Aviation Museum, and I don't know, I dig that kind of stuff, and I know there's a lot of people that love seeing and kind of getting first hands with that kind of stuff too, and working with the museum, you kind of get to do stuff like that. So if you kind of have an interest in that, reach out to the museum, and or if maybe you want to you have aspirations, a younger person that has aspirations of wanting to be a pilot or getting in a career field of aviation or something like that, or military. This is a great chance to maybe hang out with some people that chewed some of that dirt and learn a little bit about the history of what you're getting into here. So.
Yeah, we had a gentleman yesterday was there when we opened up, Brandon Smith, and he's a student out at Eastern to be an aircraft mechanic, and he's also wants to be a pilot eventually. And he said he's here to help us maybe work with the kids, so he's going to maybe come out Friday, and we're going to get him on the flight simulators, get him up to speed, so that if we have a group coming out when he's available, not going to class, he said he'd be more than happy to come and help us out. So
very cool.
that's just kind of typical what we have. People, floating in and out that are here and wanting to help and stuff like that. So that's good.
Very
That's
cool.
a positive thing.
Absolutely.
Our current board members are myself and Katie Yates is our treasurer, Sandy Correa. She's going to kill me for mispronouncing her last name. Anyway, Bob Donnell, Juliana Halverson, Judy Armstrong, Jerry Cloffer, and Friar Yurek Norwaki.
Very cool.
So that's the big eight.
They're the
But we need about 15 or 20 people on the board.
Gotcha. So if you want to serve in that capacity too, looking for individuals that would love to be a part of that too, and I'm guessing also now with the news of you just mentioning that the golf tournament in May is going to be canceled. That's a big fundraiser for the museum.
Yeah, right.
So I imagine funds are going to be needed as well here
As a
too.
matter of fact, our rent is very reasonable, by the way. Thank you to the
City of
airport.
Roswell.
Yeah.
Hooked you up.
But it is doubling in the next few months.
Okay.
So, it's not significant like trying to be downtown
Sure.
on Main Street.
But it's an added expense.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be in the 300, close to 400 range.
Okay.
About 350, whatever. But that's, we're going to be approaching probably various folks, like we do in a golf tournament, and just see if they can support us for a month.
Sure.
And get a nice big sign up, which will be visible to everybody, even when the big screen 16-foot door is down.
Gotcha.
We'll see, they have a light going so they can see who's supporting the museum this month, and then another little sign next to it showing the people that have supported in the past months. So they can continue to get some marketing from that point of view there, and would really help us out. So we'll probably be approaching that task here pretty quick.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to help out, reach out, and
We'll be contacting some people in person and kind of showing them what we're doing. And a lot of people are interested in the fact that, number one, we do provide the history. Mm-hmm. Even when the kids come out, they get a shot of we have two touchscreen computers in our screens in our museum, and it gives you 2-minute history of the Walker Aviation, Walker Air Force Base, and then a 2-minute history of the Atlas F missile.
Gotcha.
So then we also give them some other history and stuff real quick, and then we proceed into, getting them oriented toward these flight simulators, and then we break them up into two groups, and we try to get 8 to 12 is kind of the number we're looking at.
Okay.
Because if you get more than that, we can't. When we break them up, they can't function on the flight simulators.
Gotcha. Anything bigger, that's the sweet spot for.
8 is about ideal because then you get 2 on each simulator.
8 is enough.
Huh?
Sorry, I was doing an old TV show reference. Is 8 enough?
8 enough? No. Hopefully we get like 2 groups of 8 coming in. But anyway, they come in for a couple hours and we break them up, and so that for about an hour or a little less, the 4 of them get to fly on 2 simulators and take turns and doing 2 or 3 different scenarios on this flight simulator, while the other 4 get their shot of 11 videos from YouTube on all the way from how to determine what you may want to do for a living for the rest of your life, a Venn diagram. Mm-hmm. This guy's really good. It's got pretty good ratings from the kids. And then we show them 10 STEM videos of various careers. Like,
Gotcha.
A day in the life of a wind turbine technician or engineer, being an registered nurse, being a physician assistant. And then you have things on oil fields, energy. And then we have a couple of videos, one from Crumlin Auto that ties in with Eastern New Mexico University on the automobile mechanic.
Gotcha.
And then we have one from Eastern on the aircraft maintenance program.
Very good. So for folks on those, and then and then like you said, the oil field, like they got don't they? And then one of them like a roughneck video of showing
yeah. That's kind of entertaining anyone that say, okay, you think your job's tough? Look at this. These guys are throwing these chains around these pipes, and they're doing all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty cool for the opportunity. And then of course, adults, whole family's going to get a kick out of the, just seeing some.
And we put the kids to work. We have up to 6 clipboards if we had 12 show up, and when they're seeing these videos, they rate it 1 through 5. 1 being that was totally useless.
Gotcha.
So. But at the same time, on the page, they mark their male or female and their age. So when I get through with this, we look at it and say, okay, guys, if we wanted to change and maybe modify it in the future, if we're having a group coming in of a certain age or sex, guys or girls or whatever, we can say, yeah, let's take this and move this over, and we'll put this video in instead.
Sure.
So they're getting the best. So they kind of get a chance to rate it, and then also rate the flight simulator experience.
Absolutely. And then obviously it gives a clear indicator for you guys on what, what videos. So if there's certain videos that just across the board aren't registering with the group, then you can say, well, maybe we can pull that from the file and look for something to fill its place that would be more appropriate.
Right.
So, yeah. It's a great opportunity for them, but really, this is something, and these are strides that you guys have made in the last year here. I know in the last couple of years, the museum has taken a turn to really support the STEM related and the education side of things. So that's really been the mantle that you guys have been carrying for the last couple of years here. So really the stuff we're talking about, these screens, these programs, this is all new stuff within the last year and a half.
Yeah, we just got a computer and a big kind of a curved screen, and kids sit down, they have chairs. And that's what some of the people, when we're open during the day, we're running videos from YouTube. Like there's close to an hour video on the B-36, history of the B-36, history of B-29, and a bunch of other pretty cool aircraft and historical type things. And they come in and look around, and they end up sitting in the chair watching some of this rather than sitting outside in the terminal. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think for folks that are just military buffs or love history and you're coming through, and then you really get to see the role that this community served during World War II and the Cold War era. And it's pretty impressive. It's just, for folks that don't know, odds are pretty good that if you were in a bomber crew during World War II, you probably spent some time in Roswell, New Mexico as part of your training.
Right.
And, that's just
pilots that already got their pilot training, but they came here to get multi-engine training and then bombardier training.
Yeah,
so there's around 17,000 trained here.
Yeah, it's pretty. It was a very important role that this community served during the war, and that's pretty cool history as part of this, and so you get to exposed to that, and then of course because we live in the desert, it was ripe area to put some Atlas missiles too when the time came, and so we during that Cold War era up until they started upgrading and putting bigger munitions, and then at some point scaling back the number of nukes that we were carrying.
Right.
There was a period there where we were glowworms. We had
they had 12 silos, and they were scattered around. A lot of people didn't realize that. Is that just around the base? No, it was around Roswell, in like 12, maybe 14 miles in all directions, north, east, west, south.
Yeah.
So, and these Atlas F missiles, like they were saying, that the weapon on top of the missile, the warhead, was about 100 times, 150 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb.
Wow.
So it's kind of scary. I think that's when my dad built the bomb shelter in our garage up on West 8th Street.
Well, and that's...
No, it's just kind of a case like you got the base as a target. Now you got all these missiles around Roswell.
Sure.
Who's in the middle? Roswell.
Yeah, you're like, man, what's that hum? No.
Yeah.
But, you mentioned that stat there about the warhead, and I hope it gets people thinking. When we talk about when we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that was the infancy of the atoms, the nuclear age here, and that's in that span of time. When we bombed the end the war, the Pacific theater of World War II. From that time, we dropped those bombs, like you said, that took out a city with one of those bombs, and that was, I think we basically had, those were the two bombs we had. We may have had one other, but that was it. To just 10, 15 years later, now looking at one of those warheads could, in essence, wipe out an entire country. And it's basically, you know what I mean? Just the power and in the same size and the technology going from the understanding how nuclear energy and how the atom bomb worked to looking at these intercontinental ballistic missiles in that really 10, 15 years time. That's quite a bit of advancement there in that bit of time frame there, and even during that age when they go from the Atlas to Minutemen to the various missile designs. There's huge engineering and STEM differences in the technologies.
And they were kind of struggling when they were building this because they, were using the Atlas and as a liquid fuel. And while they were here, started building them in '61 was the same year I graduated high school, so it shows my age here in Roswell. But they were up and running during the Cuban Missile Crisis in '62, October. And then they were dismantled, and basically they went, our government went to the Minuteman missile and solid fuel, reckon some Titan missiles. But they were shut down in 1965. So they started building them in '61 and shut down in '65. But so there's still those silos scattered around Roswell. I think one of them they're using as you can spend the night there.
Yeah, like a B&B
I saw that in
or
the paper,
something.
yeah. But then there's some other ones like north of town that I was in the astronomy club. They go out there and use all that flat concrete on the silo doors and stuff where they set up their telescopes and stuff. But you're pretty far away from Roswell and you don't pick up city lights or anything.
Yeah, you get nice and dark out there.
Yeah, so it's like 13, 12 miles out, and then you drive off the road for about another mile or two and get to the silo.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to give you a quick backup on this, what we've done so far with the kids, in the past, we've recently had 12 students from Berrendo Middle School, and we've had 24 students in 2 groups of 12 from Sierra Middle School. We've had a home group of 12 homeschoolers, and then a bunch of other folks. So we've had about 58 youth and maybe 15 adults out there so far.
Okay.
Just, working with the simulator, but that's way below the number we want. And
Sure.
It's just, everybody's kind of tied up with this COVID thing.
You'd love to have a group coming through every day through there.
Well, that's the other problem. We like that, but
you got to have the people to
you got to have the
accommodate
people
that. Yeah.
accommodate that. But
in a perfect world, you'd love to have all of that. That's what you'd love to
but
have.
we'd love to have at least a group coming out once a week.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're just still there, and we'll be there, and we're not going away. And we're looking forward to we're already coordinating with New Mexico Youth Challenge when they get out there.
Okay.
Trying to get maybe 3 or 4 of their instructors to come out, and we'll put them through what we're going to put the kids through. And then when the next class gets here, we can maybe bring out some groups of 8.
Okay.
And they're really just within walking distance, of course. New Mexico Youth Challenge.
Sure. Yeah, they're right there.
And then Sierra Gutierrez School there.
Yeah.
And
Charter school. Yeah, that's
charter
all right
school,
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also been working with Roswell Independent School District, and we've been working with church groups. Like you got the buses. Mm-hmm. Don't you get some students in the age of 13 to 18? And that's the reason for that is the simulators are fairly complex. It's not a game. It's not like a video toy.
Sure.
But at the same time, we're showing a bunch of career stuff. And if you get much younger than that, first of all, they kind of don't take the flight simulator very serious.
Right.
But then they don't also get much out of the career stuff because they're so far down the
information's a little bit beyond that
once you get up
grasp.
to be getting ready to get into high school, you kind of know what you may. I may need to focus on this or that. So
yeah. To them, it's all fun and pew pew and all that, which is great. But you know, it kind of doesn't defeat the STEM side. So
yeah. So.
But as Robert's saying, like you had church groups. So if you've got youth groups, scout troops, or like you said, church groups, things like that.
I'm meeting with the lady. Now, don't have her name. What I put? Anyway, I'm meeting with the Girl Scout leader.
Oh, cool. Okay.
For the region, she's coming in either this coming Thursday or next week.
Okay.
So we're coordinating with them already.
And if you're interested in seeing what the Walker Aviation Museum can do is to help enhance your youth programs, please reach out. This is what they do, and folks, if you'd love to be more involved with this, if you're like, man, I love simulators and stuff, I'd love to get some more time there and do all that. And here's the cool part that the museum's really doing with their simulators and things. They're kind of doing it sort of like a library card system where if you have a real interest in learning this stuff and you're a young man or young woman that was coming out, you come out, you sit there and get your simulator time. They give you a little card, and it's kind of like your license a little bit.
It says I'm an EduStation pilot.
Yeah.
So all they have to do is when we're open, they bring that and wave that card, and they can go straight VFR direct, no stopping.
Yeah. So
right straight to the simulators and you play on them or not play on them or operate
practice
them.
and start, if you're pursuing a pilot's license, and I get it. you're a young person trying to do that. Most of us don't have access to an airplane or a multi-$1,000 simulator to go do these things.
And by the way, I should say that these are $6,000. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But they're expensive simulators.
Yeah.
And the reason we have them is because of a grant from Xcel Energy. So
very cool.
Thank you, Xcel Energy, for that.
Yeah, they. Well, we say this all the time. I don't know how many times we see entities like Excel, when we have community events like Christmas lights downtown, there's Excel Energy right there helping out. So it's great to see them in another facet promoting and helping in our community there. So yeah, that's flight simulators. Go price one. You could probably find a junky one on eBay for a couple grand, but to get one that's you're paying a lot of money.
Some of these ones now that you can get software, they're actually pretty good. We have one, ours is a yoke, but it'll fly 50 different aircraft. And like you get a pilot coming in and looking at it and says, oh, yeah, this is the basic one. But if you want to, you could select an F-22 Raptor and select Istanbul, Turkey, and land at 9 o'clock at night.
There you go.
They go, oh, okay. And when you do that, you get the cockpit display like an F-22 or with a 777 or 637 or whatever.
Wait, I'm being very curious, just from my time in the military, when I was in Italy, and we were...
they don't have stealth fighter ones in there.
No F-117s.
I don't know.
But they would... so I spent a lot of time near the runway there because that's kind of where our tents were. So I watched aircraft coming in and taking off all the time. And so I got to watch the various aircraft come in, and each kind of have their own landing style. You know what I mean? And the most hot doggy of the group, I'm going to say, were the F-15 pilots. Those guys, when they would come in, they would land, but they would not land. They would use their whole plane as a speed brake. So they would basically come landing in, and they would just land on their bottom two wheels, their back two wheels, and they would ride that wheelie for 1,000 feet, I don't know, but for a long time, in essence, using the entire plane to slow it down. And then when it got slow enough, just boom, and then it dropped that front end and then just go on. 15. So I saw a few 16s do it, but mostly that was an F-15 move. And I was just wondering, if you get in an F-15 in there, do you get a chance to kind of ride it and boom like they do?
I guess you could, yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
It was kind of, and I would also throw this out there. F-15 pilots were more hot doggy taking off too, because F-15s are one of the few planes that can almost do a vertical takeoff.
Right.
And they like to prove that they could do that because they would sit there and literally hit the runway, take off, and then once they catch air, boom, go almost straight up. They go hit full burner and just, and they'd have to hit a tanker right after that, but they would do that quite often. And
I didn't, as we've talked about before, I'm not a pilot, but I was training pilots for many years in the Air Force. And luckily, I got to ride in the back seat of F-15s and do some air-to-air combat out of Okinawa.
Okay.
And I know what you mean because I was in the back seat.
Oh, I'm sure.
Trying not to get the motion sickness as they were.
I think
doing
that's a
negative G's, positive G's, and then flying at night.
I think it's a bit of a game for the pilots when they give incentive rides to some of the non-flyers.
Especially the guy that's supposed to be their instructor.
Oh yeah, because you were making them spin and puke in training. Oh, that was payback for you.
That's right. Guys. I said, we'll get you now.
That's pretty good.
By the way, just before we, WAFBmuseum.org is where we're on the website. And Amazon Smile will help us if you're shopping at Amazon. If you go to that, we'll get a few pennies out of your stuff that you're buying. So.
If you're having trouble understanding that, if you go to the Walker Aviation Museum website, which again is Robert said, wafbmuseum.org, you'll find a link there. If you click that, that'll take you right to the Amazon Smile link. Once you do that, bookmark it, and then every time you go through Amazon, click that bookmark, and then every time you spend money at Amazon, a few pennies go right directly to the museum each month. So it's just a little bit, doesn't cost you any extra. You pay the same price for what you bought. Amazon just donates a few pennies off your purchase. And the idea is you give up a couple pennies, you get enough people, and next thing you know, they get a nice chunk of a change, a nice fat check each month. Goes towards programs and things at the museum there. So that's a great way to help out doing minimal effort on your part for something you probably do anyway already.
Yeah, just and quickly review. We already mentioned this before, but I had the scenario what the kids come in and we talked about what they did, and then when they sit down, while half of them are flying the flight simulators, it's a 172, and they do a taxi, and then they do a takeoff, and they get to fly through these green squares, and then finally a yellow circle, and then just one where they're just flying and making turns and stuff. But the other group are watching the following videos. They're watching Science, Technology, Math, and Overview, Careers in Aviation, in Eastern New Mexico, Roswell Aviation Maintenance Technician Program. The next one is A Day in the Life of a Wind Turbine Engineer. Then the next one is Kremlin Auto Group and Eastern New Mexico University Roswell Auto Mechanic Program.
Okay.
Then Energy Careers, Career Cluster and Industry Video Series, that's one. Oil Well Workers Career Video, and then What Does a Registered Nurse Do? Architectural Engineering versus Architecture, what's the difference? And right now we're showing, so what do you want? So you want to be a physician assistant. So, but, we can change those around. There's several that we can substitute in and out. Steve Griffin, retired Navy guy. He was a weatherman the whole time he was in. He just got through installing a bunch of nice professional weather equipment on the wall.
Okay.
So we're going to get that signage up so it kind of explains more what all this equipment is, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff there. And
now the computers tell them all that stuff. It's like, no, but back in the day you had to have equipment to measure these things, and here it is.
So we have enough time to talk about a little quick history blip, about a 2-minute thing here?
Yeah, we sure do.
Okay, so today, in the past, we've talked about the Atlas missile, KC-135, B-52, B-47, B-36, and the atomic bomb drop at Nagasaki. We talked about that, I think, last month.
Last month.
Yeah. Anyway, for this, let's talk about, for this month, let's talk for historically, Walker Air Force Base's support of the nuclear bomb testing in the Marshall Islands in the Pacific in 1946.
Okay.
Right after the war was over.
All right.
At the end of World War II, there was a push to conduct a test of the survivability of warships from nuclear attack. And as a result, in 1946, Operation Crossroads was set into action, and the location was at the Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands in the Pacific, and conducted by a joint Army, Navy, and Task Force One, headed by Vice Admiral William Blandy. Support of this operation consisted of 150 ships to house workshops, quarters, and experimental stations for 42,000 men and 37 female nurses. I guess they needed, I don't know why they emphasized the female nurse, but anyway, I think at that time, there's not too many females in the military, but there were.
Sure. And then when they were in the role, serving.
A lot of times on nursing.
Medical,
Not today, though. They're flying fighters, F-35s, whatever.
And then on the other side, I imagine nursing, it's kind of, male nurses were
female.
something
that
wasn't really a thing. So
Manhattan project scientists argued that further testing was unnecessary and environmentally dangerous. Besides ship survivability, the radiation injury to the sailors was a concern. Therefore, hundreds of pigs, goats, and rats were placed on target ships for study by the National Cancer Institute. And this action, as you might imagine, was opposed by animal rights groups.
Yeah, I'm sure they did not find that out.
The Navy was afraid that without a test to show the survivability of warships, that they might lose a lot of funding for future naval forces. Kind of like, oh my gosh, is this atomic bomb mean that the Navy's no longer relevant?
Sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So members of Congress, press corps, and others were allowed to witness the event. On February 10th, 1946, 167 Bikini Islanders and their belongings were moved 128 miles east to the uninhabited Rongerik Atoll to begin a permanent exile. So we kind of kicked those people out of their own homes. That's not very... Anyway, you look back on that.
Here's the thing,
I'm glad they didn't decide to test it in Roswell, New Mexico, and just moved everybody out of Roswell to somewhere.
Why didn't they just do the test at the abandoned island when there was nobody at to begin with?
I don't know. I have to check that out.
I'm not a wizard or nothing. What was the logic there? Hey, we got this island full of people, and then this empty one over here. Let's move the island full of people over to the empty island. That doesn't make sense.
No, I think it was an atoll where they could get all the ships in there. Anyway,
maybe I don't know. Maybe there's some logistics I'm missing there.
Three tests were scheduled. The Alpha was an airdrop to explode 530 feet above the surface of the water. delivered by a B-29 from Roswell Army Airfield. The beta test was a 90-foot underwater test, and the Charlie test was a deep water test. Say for the Alpha test, the 23 kiloton, 23,000, tons of atomic, of a TNT equivalent. Right. 23 kiloton plutonium atomic bomb, similar to the Nagasaki bomb, was dropped by the B-29 named Dave's Dream from the Roswell 509th Bombardment Group. Okay. And the airdrop did not go well. The bomb exploded 2,130 feet from the aim point, and it was, as a result, only 5 target ships out of the 95 sitting in the lagoon were sunk. That's a good thing for the Navy, I guess. But anyway.
They missed with a nuke.
After a lengthy investigation, Colonel Paul Tibbets believed that the miss was caused by a miscalculation by the crew. And the Baker underwater test resulted in cancellation of the Charlie deep water test due to significant sea spray radiation contamination of the target ships. So it was so bad that, the one that was just that 50 feet under, that they decided, we won't do that. Oh, I guess it was 90 feet underwater.
Okay.
It was a beta test, but then they decided, we're not going to do the deep water test.
So it sounds like it was a series of...
So it was didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
But, when you drop the atomic bomb, you can't drop it at low level. You have to drop it at high altitude.
Sure.
Because
you're going to get caught up in the mushroom cloud.
So that's why with the winds and stuff, it was always hard to get really close. Even Nagasaki and Hiroshima, they didn't really drop exactly where they wanted to. But it was powerful enough that it did the damage.
That was it. You get close is good enough with a nuke usually. But I would imagine in the ocean environment, that changes parameters a little bit too. Right. Water is a little bit different, denser than air. So how does that nuclear radiation travel and stuff like that?
Before we leave, I need to not forget to thank the people that have supported us monetarily in the past, and that was Roswell Toyota, XL Energy, Pioneer Bank, Featherstone Development Corporation, Dr. Phil Cathy, Dr. Paula Engstrom, and Lloyd Hughes, Glenn's Furniture, and Airsil. So anyway, those folks have really helped out in the past, and we've had a lot of people like Bob Donnell's wife, Peggy Donnell. She's a pilot, matter of fact. She's flown solo.
Yeah.
But she has come out and helped out with the kids on the flight simulator. So even though she's not a member of the board, she was kind of our, I don't know what we call her. She's our
or your inspiration.
Mascot. She's our mascot. She's our
your muse.
Official mascot to come out and help us out. We really appreciate it.
Very good. Again, if anybody has any questions, wafbmuseum.org. Or if come on out during the flight schedule, walk out there and take a gander around. Usually about 2 hours before flight, you might see it open there and come on in for a visit.
Yeah, Monday through Friday, we should be there right around 11:15, and we kind of close up around 1:30 when the plane's supposed to take off.
Very good.
Okay.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate the visit as always, and stay warm, and we'll see you next time. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Take care. We'll